I am able. Aum. Aham prema. Soham Hansaha Swaha. Hello, beautiful spirit. Abelum here. I'm going to now read the excerpt from the second book. And this is what hit home for me recently. And if any of you are experiencing the same thing, this will help you. It is Unreasonable Fears. So, this is regard to fear of the future. And here it goes. Honestly, fear of the future is completely a mental concept, and therefore it is appropriate to address it with mental concepts. We address it with reasoning and logic. This is again how I literally talked myself out of fear of demons, ghosts, and anything paranormal. If I hadn't experienced anything paranormal that had actually harmed me yet, then I was unlikely to in the future. All of my experiences that I had as a child and growing up were frightening to me, even though I had never been harmed. Therefore, and I mean physically harmed, by the way. Therefore, I had no reason to waste energy on it anymore. Now I really enjoy learning about and watching things in regard to paranormal, but I demand that it is with a useful vibration. This is important to understand. Now, this is where I messed up. Recently, I watched some videos that really affected my ability to feel at peace, to feel calm. I had real fear, and I won't tell you what I watched because it might make fear in you. So let's keep reading. I will not watch horror movies if they actually invoke fear in me. If I can laugh about them and not think about them afterward, then they are entertainment. There is nothing wrong with entertainment, but if they put any real fear in me, then they are lowering my vibration. Oh yeah, okay, this goes many books and movies and media on other aspects as well. Any television that shows torture, rape, destruction, violence, and fear of death are programs for your mind. You must be very careful as to what you expose yourself to. I'm not saying that you should not be entertained. I am saying to remain present and aware how these things affect your thoughts. How do you feel during and after watching them? These subtle types of programming are affecting your vibration and your expectations. They absolutely can cause anxiety and fear. I encourage you to take control of what you expose yourself to. You can become that. Now, knowing full well this is the case, I chose to watch these entertainment shows. It wasn't really a show on Netflix or anything, it was a YouTube channel, because I find the paranormal to be fascinating. But I knew when I was watching it that it was affecting me, and the repercussions were great because I had a lot of kundalini flowing from the most recent meditation. So if you are doing the meditation, be aware that you are going to feel and experience some extreme sensations that you are not prepared for. And that is the purpose of kundalini, to point out what you're still working on in a way that you cannot suppress or pretend anymore. Okay, so the present. We just talked about the future, the present. In the present, there are two types of fear that I am aware of: reasonable fears and unreasonable fears. In the present, reasonable fears are those that pose an actual physical threat. We can scroll down through it. Basically, it's talking about wild animals, being on a cliff, skydiving, hang gliding, etc. Those are real things that can happen to you, right? If you're walking down a dark alley and you know it's not a safe neighborhood, that's a reasonable fear. Now, unreasonable fears are actually those that are in your mind due to the environment reminding you of something the ego already fears. This is often described in Hindu texts as a snake in the dark. You walk into a dark room and see this terrifying and menacing snake in the corner of the room. You are too scared to approach it to capture it and take it outside, so you run and go get someone else to help. Then they come to help with a torch and a net. Again, it's Hindu, so old school. Torch means flashlight. As you enter the room with the flashlight, the snake is visible as simply a rope. We are usually afraid of something that we cannot see. So once again, for years, I was scared of the dark. And I thought that I was over that, but apparently not. We're on round 2, right? So, maybe we're in the woods and hear loud leaves behind us. We imagine that it is a cougar, a bear, or a human or a creature that wishes to do us harm. This is what movies tell us it is. This is what Netflix and YouTube does. So we freeze in fear and watch and listen with acute focus and awareness until that terrifying creature appears. It is a little bird aggressively moving dry leaves so that it may find bugs beneath them. Now I use this example because it is exactly what happened to me and my wife as we were hiking in a dense forest. So you see once again that these fears are actually unreasonable because they are only your imagination prompted by your environment. Again, it is usually fear of something you cannot see. So there are two practices I use in these instances, and again, I'm using these right now. The first is to do exactly what I mentioned above. Stay very present, stay aware, breathe quietly, listen and watch with your entire focus. And this is actually a technique I use to stay present during most days. This is because it is difficult to stay present due to the ego, the mind. The ego wants to be anywhere else. And the ego dies when you are present, so it fears being present. Isn't it ironic, however, that fear of something else is one of the best ways to go beyond the ego? I think so. Now, the second technique is visualization, and it's super helpful and important, so let's talk about it. This technique became absolutely vitally important for me due to my childhood experiences. Again, I was embarrassingly afraid of the dark, and there are a lot of really important reasons for that, but I was terrified that a ghost, demon, alien, or any other terrifying entity would attack me in my bed at night while I was sleeping. I had been programmed for years that there was nothing that could be done other than praying, and that these things were real and a real threat. Now, praying does help, but visualization helps as well. Many people are concerned that they cannot visualize very well. This perceived self-limiting idea prevents them from trying and achieving it. Just like everything else, visualization becomes better and better with practice. When I first began using visualizations while lying in bed with my eyes closed, it started very simple. I would imagine a bright yellow glow shining down on me from above. Still use it, very helpful. I told myself that it was a loving light from God, and in fact it is. It is a loving light from Source, from your deity. So you are increasing this very real and ongoing energy when you visualize it. So from there, I chose different visualizations to keep me feeling safe. The only aspect that matters is how you feel. So I visualized that God was the source of the light, and God was smiling down on me like a father or mother smiling down to their baby. To add to this visualization, I saw myself sitting in a field with the warm sun shining down and putting light on the entire area. Nothing dark was allowed in the light. Everything was illuminated. I used other senses, like smelling flowers, feeling the fresh wind, and hearing birds and bees to keep me there in that space. This is actually a protective cocoon that begins with a thought form and manifests into an astral, energetic space. This is very real, and many meditations include visualizations of this sort. My final tool is this. If I am ever feeling this unreasonable fear of something that I cannot see, I imagine a creature in my mind, the one that I'm scared of seeing, right? And I think, that is a really cool mask, but I want to see your face. I then visualize my own face behind that scary mask. Again, these scary entities are nothing other than a version of me, of you, from a different time and space. I then state my affirmation. I am only open to mutually beneficial interactions of joy and understanding because I am love, and love is all I have to offer. Or, alternatively, only beings of light and love with the highest possible intentions for the highest good of all beings may remain in my presence. Now, if you do these practices, you need not find any other technique for dealing with present-based fears, because they are in your mind. You are imagining, you're visualizing, your ego is making up these fears to mess with you, to make it stronger, because fear makes it stronger. Love makes it weaker. So that's all for this video. I just wanted to point out a couple of techniques that became important again. Again and again, I'm finding that reusing the old techniques that came out years ago are more valid than ever, especially when you are dealing with kundalini. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. I am love, I'm loving, and I love you. Thank you. Bye.